Well, man, what's the crack? Hope we're all doing well and we are good. So I'm being very unprofessional this week. I basically look. I'll be straight up and honest with you. I am in the middle of doing college assignments, so I don't have the time this week to do a fancy presentation, but I still got it done anyway. Okay, so we won't have the glitz and the glamour of some fancy looking photos in the background. Just between the nice weather and stuff as well. I've been outside doing jobs and look. Hopefully you'll all get something to take away from this session here as well. Okay, so break the cycle sessions week 3 today is based, and this week in general is based around identity, habits, and routine. And again, building that consistency that will last you. Okay, so we're all, I suppose, when I say all, I suppose at times like we can come across this identity habit or identity crisis and not realize, I suppose, the habits that are keeping us stuck. We don't know who we've become, and it's just the routines and the things we do on a daily basis that are keeping us trapped. So the aim of this session is to build consistency that lasts for you, and every one of us are going to be different. But again, the common themes that have showed up this week through the type form questions are pretty similar to what has come up last week. So and I actually just realized as I was recording this video as well that I never uploaded last week's video, so apologies there. You're going to get 2 videos in one day, so how lucky are ye? Now you probably would have watched the second video before you watched this one, so look, these things happen. Okay, let's get stuck into things anyway. Okay, opening questions. So, as you would have seen in the type form, what I asked was, when you're at your best, what are you doing differently? Okay, so when you feel like you're a man that has a fucking sexy suit on, bulging biceps, you're walking down the road, you're feeling confident, what's coming up for you on those days? So the common answers are that you're waking up early, you're eating well, you're training, and you have a clear routine. Okay? All of these things are very simple things that you can do on a daily basis. But yet, sometimes we don't do them because we just get caught in that vicious cycle, we lose our identity, and we're not able to keep it going. So, what is really going on for us? The main struggles that people see here is that there's a lack of structure. We don't have a set routine that when we wake up in the morning, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my clothes ready. I'm going to get my food prepped. I'm going to go train. We're falling out of routine, okay? But when we do have that set structure, we're not sticking to it. We're aimlessly wandering around and not sticking to what's going to have us feeling good. Instead, we're just keeping it safe. We're playing the safe option. We're not going training. We're not eating good. And then you have a lack of belief because of that, okay? So things roll over one into the other, and it just turns into that vicious cycle. The reality is that you have an unknown schedule. Okay? You don't know what's coming up during the week, alright? For a lot of us, I suppose, in work, like, we don't know who's going to come in and complain about something. We don't know whether our boss is going to be mad at us or something's going to happen in work that's going to throw us off. Alright? We're not planning ahead for it because it's unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. And then we're not prepared. And then we've a little bit of burnout, and the drinking part of things is obviously related to alcohol. But I suppose the essence here is that, like, we don't have a set routine, or we don't have a plan B. So when plan A doesn't work, what are we going to go back to? And then it's the resistance in doing the work, all right? We play it safe. We keep it easy. You know, we stay in our comfort zone. We don't tend to step outside it because that's hard, okay? But sometimes we do need to do the hard things. The pattern here is that, like, we've good intentions, but we've no structure. And then when we miss one thing, we lose momentum and we start again. And that's just a vicious cycle that keeps going over and over again. So we want to do good. We mean good. Okay, I'm going to get fit and healthy. But what's the structure? What do you need to do that? You miss out. You don't eat good for one day. And you lose momentum. And then it's just go back to that vicious cycle. You start all over again. So problem number 1 is that we have no structure. We have no clear plan during the week, and we're just reacting as the day goes on. What's the opposite of being reactive? Proactive. We're not thinking ahead. We're not like, okay, what do I need to do to be my best self tomorrow? And the micro problems here are that there's no food prep, there's no schedule, and we've no clear priorities for during the week. So therefore, we're just reacting day on day. Okay? And for the food situation there, For example, I had a client during the week who was very unprepared and ended up eating deli food for the whole week. It's very easy to stop in a petrol station and actually like pick up something decent, but his priorities were just all over the place with it. He was like, look, I'm just going to go a convenient option. That looks nice. Big fucking greasy sausage rolls. How's that going to help him? I'm not saying sausage rolls are bad, like, but it's just when that's 5 days in a row, your priorities are in the wrong place. Problem 2 is that there's a loss of momentum. Okay, so one bad decision leads to more, and burnout leads to you giving up. It's like that snowball effect. You got to stop that snowball before it turns into a boulder. And we've no reset point. We've no clear thinking, and we're not able to, I suppose, align our thoughts with our actions. And it's that all or nothing mindset then as well. And some of us then don't have create boundaries for ourselves. We don't know when to stop. We just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And that snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So when do we stop? Some people don't. They just keep going in that vicious cycle that keeps them stuck forever. Gain weight, stop exercising. They're all of a sudden saying, it's like, this is always going to be me, I'm going to be stuck. Their mindset is all over the place. They don't know what to do. And a lack of belief is where that comes from too. So you're doubting yourself, you're avoiding the work, don't know where to go, you don't know where to reach out to. You're waiting to feel ready, you have a fear of failure, you have no clear identity, you don't know who you are. You're afraid. And that's okay sometimes, but you don't need to let it take over you either. So, the solution here is simple. We need to build identity-driven habits. So, what I want you to do, okay, is we're going to build a framework for this. I want you to decide the man you want to be. What does that look like? Close your eyes, take a second. How do you want to show up day to day? When you wake up in the mornings, how do you want to feel? When you go to the gym, how do you want to feel? What does it feel like to take action? What does it feel like someone that does take action? How do they show up for themselves on a daily basis? How do they show up for others? And I want you to build habits that match that. And you're just going to repeat that in a day. It doesn't need to be perfect, but the intentions have to be there. Intent is what drives results. Yeah, we might fail the first several dozen times, but that doesn't mean that it's not never going to work. That's only when you keep repeating doing the same thing over and over that's not working. But when intention is there, you build the habits that match the identity of the man that you want to become, we get to where we want to be. And the metaphor I like to use here is, let's start casting votes for the man you want to become. And every action is a vote. You train, you're voting for discipline. Because the person that shows up and gets results has the habit of being disciplined. You prep food, you're voting for control. You control what you put into your mouth. That client that I was referring to about the sausage rolls during the week, somebody wasn't shoving them down his mouth. He didn't prep his food, so he had no control. But he also had no control over what he picked out of the deli. Yes, he did. He did have control. He could have picked up a better option, but he decided to, look, it's out the gap now, didn't have it ready, my overnight notes aren't there. What's the point? And then the opposite of that then is if you skip it all, you're voting for your old habits. You're voting to stay the same. You're voting to stay stuck. So, the casting vote here is up to you. Okay? You cast the votes for the man you want to become. Alright? Take action. Be that man. So, mindset shift here is that the old mindset, I need to feel motivated and I'll start when life settles down. Problem here, lads, is life might never settle down. Things could probably stay the same here. But what I want you to remember now is that you're going to act regardless of how you feel. Okay? Our emotions sometimes don't necessarily need to be how we feel. I feel sad. I'm going to eat a fucking cake. Don't need to. I feel angry. I'm not going to train now because I'm angry. It's like, yeah, you can still train. You know, your feelings don't necessarily need to lead to your actions or your emotions, okay? And that structure creates freedom. Because when you start to build those habits turn into structure. And the more structure you can have in your life with the actions that you take, that creates internal freedom up here more than anything else. Okay? Everyone's environment, everyone's situation is going to be different, but that doesn't need to lead to you being stuck inside in a prison, alright? You can be free once you create that structure. So, what I want you to do now, you pause this video once we have these written down. I want you to write down the vision of the man that you want to become. Okay? And you're going to write 3 habits that match that on a daily basis, alright? And you're just going to keep repeating that week on week. Alright? What does that man look like that I want to become? And 3 habits that he does on a daily basis. Could be get up early, take a cold shower, train for 30 minutes a day, read. Could be anything. Stretch. Whatever it is you want to become. Could be the guy that wants to run a marathon. Could be the guy that wants to become a better father. Could be the guy that just wants to be more fucking confident in himself. What does he do? And what do you need to do next? Now, match your week to that. Okay? Show up day on day, week on week, and the results will come for themselves. So, what I want you to do, 3 micro habits for training, 1 for food, and 1 for routine. Keep it simple and repeatable. These are things that we would have done on week 1 as well. But they just keep coming up. So I want you to keep them small. I want you to keep them easy. But I want you to keep them consistent as well. Okay? Because when you do that, you can keep showing up for yourself. Start off easy. Don't make it complicated. Don't overcomplicate things. Because when we do that, you're just making it harder for yourself to actually achieve it. Alright? Keep it simple and repeatable. So, build your week. I want you to plan your training days ahead. Get a diary. Do it on your phone. Google Calendar. Write out what you're going to do each day. Your training days. What day you're going to food prep. I would usually pick 2 days where you food prep every week for at least 30 minutes to an hour. That's all you need. Batch cook. Invest in some fucking Tupperware. Alright? It's an investment. Make an investment in yourself. Spend money on yourself for a change. Not in fucking stupid shit on Amazon. But invest in yourself. And then make it realistic. Okay? Bedtime and morning routine. Best way to combat stress, get a good night's sleep. Alright? Start prioritizing yourself a little bit more now. Okay, so the key takeaways for today, guys. This becomes easy when you know who you're becoming. You act daily and not perfectly, and you build structure into your week. Remember, consistency builds identity. Now, I'm not too sure if you can hear that, but that's the oven going off in the background, and this is actually really good timing. So listen, guys, alright? Get to this straight away, okay? Don't forget to take action, alright? 1 micro habit for training, 1 for food, 1 for routine, alright? And that starts with your training days, your prep time, and your bedtime routine, okay? Lads, take care, and I'll see you all next week.